Hello everyone, and welcome to So Many Games, So Little Time. Today we're going to be talking about Gorinto. We're going to do a how to play review, and that's about it. So Gorinto is by Richard Janner, and also it has been released by Grand Gamers Guild. Okay, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. Let's just first see what the setup is, and then how to play it, and then I will talk about how I feel about it after playing it twice. It's a bit early, but twice. Okay, here we go. Okay everybody, let's start with the setup. We have this bag of tiles that we will be using very shortly, but not yet. We have the printed rules that is off screen. These are the solo tiles and the 2 to 3 player tiles, which we won't be using, so that's not necessary. We will be using all these. We have the different player tiles here as well. And of course we will start with the main board. There we go. Up. Let's put it like this. There we go. As a matter of fact, I'll put it a bit lower. There we go. Up. Then we have the other board, the scoreboard, so to speak. Let's put that up here. Make sure that everything fits in the screen. There we go. And yeah, so for player wise, just the amount of players that you choose. Let's say we play with 4. Up. Everybody gets their player board, or as you would call it, their Gorinto, their memorial shrine. Okay, now when you look at the board here, you're going to have to set up 2 types of cards. Okay, first one is or are the key elements. That's the left side. Those are these cards. So you have an element for each of the different elements in the game. So void, wind, fire, water, and earth. You give them a good shuffle, and then you take 2. There you go, 1, 2. These go back in the box. So in this case, fire and earth. Okay, there you go, those are there. Then you also take the gold cards, which are here, right? And shuffle them as well. And then if you play the base game, you'll just take 2. But if you play with the Seasons expansion, I think that's what it's called, you know, the Seasons of Change expansion, then you'll be drawing 4. Now what's the difference? If you draw 2, that means you will play with 2 goals for every season. But if you draw 4, then at the end of every season, they will change. So for example, this one will go to the bottom, this one will come up, and this here. So every season you will have some different goals to do. Okay, so we place the season marker. So this guy, we place him here, first season. All right, this is a first player coin, so you randomly decide who becomes first player. So let's say it's red, then red gets the coin. Okay, it doesn't get anything else. You don't get any special points because you're first or second or whatever, nothing like that. You take the colors of everybody, you put their Gorintos here as well, because that's where their points will go. I mean, that's where you get points and where you move your marker. And these plus 50, plus 50, plus 50, they will go next to the board for once you cross 50. And believe me, everybody will cross 50. Unless you're really unlucky. From the couple of plays we've had so far, it's not unlikely to, I mean, it will happen often that people cross 50 points. Okay, so that's that. Of course, the only thing remaining is the main piece, the resistance. and that is putting out the tiles. Now, in the rule book, you have many options. First of all, the basic one that they show you is right here as the peak diagram, which basically means you have 4 tiles in the middle, 3 around, and then 2 around that. But in the back of the manual, at the last page, you have 4 more different landscapes. You have the waves diagram, the mesa, the lake, and the hill. So these can offer quite a bit of replayability. But today we're just doing the peak. So I'm not gonna go too deep. I'm gonna speed this up a little bit. But the outsides will be 2, inside 3, middle 4. All right, here we go. Okay, so everything is now here. All the element tiles are here. Now in this setup, there's also a dragon tile, right? I'll explain that better in the rules, but basically this is going to be a wild, okay? But more details later. So when it comes down to setup, we have now finished, and now we can actually start to play the game. But to play the game, we're going to zoom in and everything, and I'll explain everything more in detail. Okay, scratch that last part. Setup is not completely finished yet. I still forgot one thing, and that is putting tiles on the path around it. So you'll just be, once again, drawing from the bag and putting random tiles on the path. Okay, very important. It's best not to forget. And my apologies to all the people with OCD who would like all the tiles to be faced in the correct direction. It's too much work for me, so I've decided to let it go. I don't really mind which way they're facing. All right, now this setup is completely done, and now we can start the game, or at least the explanation anyway. Okay, now let's take a look here. First of all, in Gorinto, you are trying to create your own shrine to fill it up with all the different elements in the game. And you can see them all here. You can also see them on the player board here. You have void, wind, fire, water, and earth. And when you flip it over, it doesn't have the names, but maybe you can just recognize it then. So, main idea is to always collect tiles. Now, you do have some guidance, some motivation to which tiles you might want to take, but more about that later. First, I'm going to show you how to get a tile. Most important for that is the outside row. This is called the path, because in the path, you will choose an element and then bring it into the game and take tiles. So you can see they have like little arrows here. That means they are restricted to the row where they enter. So these go horizontal and these go down, they go vertical. Okay. Now, obviously you can see we have 5 different elements. So on the right side in the legend here, you can see the different things that they do. So for example, if I were to take this void and I put it here and I check this, that means that I can take only diagonal tiles that are diagonally next to it. So this fire, this void, or this water. So that's how that works. Then you have wind. If you put it here, for example, you will take it in the form of a cross, okay, orthogonally. So either the top, the bottom, left, or right. Okay. The amount of tiles and which tiles you can take, I will explain that in a second. Then you have fire. So fire, it's kind of like a bad example now, but I will swap it here, which is illegal. Okay, never swap it. It's just for the example. So let's say I put fire here, then I can take the top 2 and bottom 2. So 1, 1, 1, 1. Now, always the top. Okay, for void, wind, fire, and water, you always take the top tiles. You can never go lower. All right, and you can never take 2 of one stack. So then we have water. So also, to have a better example, I will put it here. So let's say he goes here, then you take the whole row, actually, except for him. Always 2 spots next to the water tile. So that will be earth, fire, wind, and water that you take. So you've probably already noticed the tile that you place, you never take that tile. That tile itself is locked. Okay. So then we have earth here. When you take earth, you will take the tiles underneath it. Okay, so just choose a stack, doesn't matter which one, let's say this one, and then you get to choose which tiles you take. And that brings me to the following point: how many tiles can you take? Well, it is very simple. Beginning of the game, you have nothing here, but you do have a virtual 1. That means if you take a tile, doesn't matter which one, you can already take 1 tile. But let's say in the game, you have these 2 on your board, the water ones, right? So now you have 2 water, but then it's 2 water plus 1, because remember, you always have a base of 1. So it's 1 plus 2 is 3. So if you were to put your water tile here now, that means horizontally, you can take 3 tiles now, because let's say this is 1, 2, 3. You can remind yourself like this: the one that you take, the tile that you choose, is already 1, and then you add whatever tiles you have on your board. If you add them up, that is the amount of tiles that you can take on the board. So you probably already realize as well, there are 4 options here, 4 options here, 4 options here, 4 options here. The only exception is the brown earth tile. For example, let's say we have a mega stack here in the middle, okay, of 9, was it? No, 9, 2, 4, 6, 7, right? And there's an earth tile here, and you put it on top. Now, at this moment, you only have 1 tile, that's earth, right? And there's nothing in here, on here. So that means you can only take 1 tile. But imagine that all these earth tiles here, so it's like what, 5, 6, and 7. Let's say these were all on your shrine, okay? These are 2, 4, 6, 7. Plus 1 is 8. So you could take a total of 8 tiles. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So okay, there's not 8, but you get to take the whole pile and then put it on all the spaces on your board where they're supposed to go. Now, let's say you only have like 1 earth tile, so you can only take 2 in total, right? Then you put the earth tile on top. You cannot keep this. Remember, the one that you put down, you cannot keep it. It will stay on the board. But I can get, if there's only, let's say there's only 2 here, right? Or 1. That means I can only take 2 tiles in total. So this is on top, and I can take 2 more. So I can say, oh, I go for the white one. So I go for the dragon, and I go for fire, sure. Or I'll go for water and earth, sure. You can just choose 2, okay? All right, that's how that works. So we're going to see where everything came from. Something like that. Okay. Seems about right. And here. Okay. So that's how that works. Okay. A little something about the dragon tiles. All right. So I didn't actually put this in the video, so I'm quickly putting it in like this. The dragon tiles are basically just wild tiles. Okay. So when you get one on the path and you use it on the board, you get to choose which element it is and then take the tiles that way. So if you say, okay, this wild tile that I'm putting on this row, it is now a wind element. So now I can take it orthogonally. Or you can say it's earth, so I can take the stack or from the stack. Or you can say, no, it's void, I'm going to take diagonally. And the moment your turn is over, it just goes back again to being a regular wild. Now, if you happen to pick up a wild, then you put it, very simply, you put it on your board wherever you want, and then for the rest of the game, it is that element. Okay? So that is how these wild tiles, these dragon tiles work. So to recap, you will take a tile, right, and place it wherever you want. This tile you will never keep, and then you check, okay, this is one. You check how many of that type you have on your board, maybe 2. All right, that means a total of 3. Now I can take 3 tiles based on the options I see here. So in this case, it could be 1, 2, 3. You take the top and take it back. So the element that you choose has nothing to do with which tiles you can take. You can always choose which tiles you take, okay? All right, so that is basically how that works, okay? Now, how do you decide which tiles you go for? Well, for that, we need to zoom in on the goals board, the scoreboard, or the key elements board, just that board that contains all of those things. Another thing about here, let's say later on that you have fire, right? Let's say there's a fire token, it's here. Let's say you put it here and you have a value of 4. So you can take 4 tiles. But let's say you don't really want that one tile. That doesn't matter. If you can take 4, you must take 4. You cannot choose to take less. You can never choose to take less. You always have to take up to the maximum of what you can choose. Okay? That's very important. And also, for example, when you do fire, again, if you put fire here, I was doing like this. Actually, it's okay upwards, obviously. So let's do a different example. Let's say water, right? If you put water here, you can see it's 2, 2, 2 here, and 2 here. So you could take these 2 or this one, but obviously there's nothing here, okay? Then there's just tough luck, all right? Similar as when you put wind here, wind is orthogonally. You can take this one, you can take this one, but of course there's nothing around there, so okay, that's not something you can do. All right, so now let's take a look at the goals board. Okay, so this is the way it has been set up now. This is the seasons token. So this will move at the end of a round. And I'll explain in a second when that moves. These are the key elements. This is very easy to remember. At the end of the game, so at the end, not at the end of a season, but at the end of the game, each of these tiles on your board will give you 2 points each, 2 wisdom points each, okay? So you want to try to collect these 2 for sure. Then we have the 2 goals. They will be scored at the end of each season. So in this case, for example, score each stack with an odd number of tiles. So 1, 3, 5, and so on. They will score it. When they say you score a stack, that means you look at the stack and you count. Well, this is a bad example because it has to be the same color. So when you look at the stack of this, all water, these are 3. So 1, 2, 3, 3 points. And then you would go up 3 points on the score track. Okay? Simple as that. Here, imagine your stacks lined up from shortest to tallest, including stacks of 0. Score the stack in the middle 3 times. So that would mean, for example, if we have this one here, and let's say I'll just add some random stacks of the same color everywhere. Okay, almost done. So fire. Okay, this time I will put them face up. Okay, up. And void. Okay, so we have this. So once again, it's set from, was it shortest to tallest, right? Shortest to tallest, and you score the stack. Now it says imagine, but when we play, we literally do it. So shortest, so first wind, then earth, then water, then void. Void and fire are the same. So we then look at the middle, which is water, and you score that stack 3 times. So this would give me 3 times 3, 9 points. Pretty good for a first move. Okay, so that's 12 points in total. So that's an example of how that scores. Now, at the end of a season, we will score all of this. And when we go to the next season, since we're playing with the seasonal change expansion, this one will go to the bottom here. This one will move up. This one will come in and then up, done. That's one of the changes that you need to do during the season change. Now, another thing that you need to do for the season change is also reset the path, but I will talk more about that now. Okay, so this is the current situation. You can see all the tiles on the side are gone except for one. So if you play with 3 players, there should be 1 left. And actually, if you play with 4 players, there should be 2 left. Very simple. Why? In the beginning of the game, there will be 10 tiles. Okay. First player will take 1 tile, do the action. Second player takes another tile, another tile, another tile. That's 4 tiles. You do that twice. That's 8 tiles. So 2 remain. So you check once everyone has had a turn. Are there more tiles than players? You keep playing. Are there less tiles than players? The season will end. And then these 2 will be discarded because they were not used, and 10 new ones are placed for the next season. So basically at the end of the season, you score the cards, the goal cards, you move them up if you play with the seasonal change, and then you also remove the path tiles and draw 10 new ones, and then the new season begins. And you do that 4 times because there's 4 seasons, and then at the end you count your score. And also, just to reiterate, to repeat, the game will end once you have done 4 seasons, and then you will score those 2 key element cards. Everybody will get 2 points per tile they have, and then you see who wins the game. Okay, and that's it. That's those are the basics. So that's basically how you play Gorinto. It's as simple and as easy as that. If you want some more clarity about how to play or to see it in action, we have a playthrough right now online, should be. And then the solo mode will also have a playthrough coming, and that playthrough will be combined with a short introduction of how to do that as well, how to play that. Okay. All right, now let's go to the review and how I feel about it after playing twice. Okay, so that is how you play Gorinto by Richard Janner. So, how do I feel about Gorinto? I'm going to put this to the side a bit. Now, at this moment, it is the only abstract game in my collection. The only one. I don't have anything else. I had some other games, but they always got sold at one point and so on. And I have to say, I find this one is more than original enough to stay in my collection. It plays so fast. I mean, I think you can knock one out of the park in 30 minutes, maybe 40 if it's first time players. But if you know how to play, it'll be fine, you know? It's going to be really nice. So what do I like about the game? First of all, the visuals are amazing. It looks very pretty. You've seen that as well. The tiles as well, I thought they'd be more cheap. You know, I thought they'd feel light and whatever, but they're pretty sturdy. They stack nicely. They don't get stuck too much. They're not too loose. It's, I'm really happy with these for sure. The other components are also nice. I mean, the golden coin is nice and heavy. It's just a starter player token, but you know, it's nice, serviceable for sure. It's overproduced, it wasn't necessary, but it's really, really nice. I like it. I love it. Then we have this the actual shrine, right? I might even paint this. I'm planning on painting this because it looks cool, but it's going to be even nicer painted. So the boards as well, it's nice. Okay, maybe one caveat would be it would have been nicer had the boards, both your own board and the main board, had it been recessed, like so double layered. That would have been really, really nice. But I can understand that they didn't do it. You know, it's just not technically necessary, but it would have been nicer for, you know, to keep everything nice in place and pictures and so on. But then also, of course, with recessed boards, I imagine it's more difficult to fold them. Whatever, you know, I understand why they didn't do it. It would just be nicer if it actually was that way. Gameplay wise, it's nice. There's always a lot of options you can do. There's all the different elements with different effects. If you add in the dragon tiles, at first I thought I didn't really want to add the dragon tiles because wild tends to be overpowered, but I don't feel this in this game, to be honest, because most of the time the people who took the dragon tiles didn't win. So yeah, I don't feel like it's balanced towards being unfair or whatever, or it's leaning towards being unfair. Like I felt like Azul was, for example. But in this case, it's fine. It's always very tricky in the beginning of the game to decide what you're going to go for and then build upon that. And with the different goal cards that come out, especially with the seasonal exchange, I wouldn't play without that. I want 4 goal cards. Okay, I don't want just 1 or 2. Oh, I mean, 1 is not an option. You only have 2. But that will be too much focus on one thing. With the seasonal change, you have a lot more variety. It's really nice. And actually, one thing that I didn't add in the rules video that I should have is something else that's very nifty. Like this is the goal card, and in the goal card in the corner there's a letter. So in this case it's letter D. We have A, B, C, D, and so on. So it means when you're drawing the goal cards, you cannot have 2 goal cards with the same letter because often they're opposites, so it wouldn't score well. So I like how they thought of that, because there's definitely a bunch of games who do not do that, and then you have like some scoring goals that are a complete opposite of each other, or it just doesn't make sense. Now it's always with this little system, it's really simple, but it's super effective. You always know that the goals make sense, they're not going to clash, and so on. Okay. Yeah, and then of course the key elements that give extra points, it's pretty cliche, you know, it's been done before, nothing special there, but like I said, it's been done before and it works, so why not, right? So yeah, I mean, I don't have much else to say about this. My only knock on the game was maybe recess boards, you know, layered boards, but that's it. Everything else, it's really nice. I keep saying that, I know, but we have a playthrough video. You can just watch and see how much fun we had. I'll definitely play this more often. I can play this with so many people, different ages as well. I'm sure it will appeal to families as well. Hardcore gamers, I think, will see this more as like a quick filler because it goes fast. Although it can also induce AP, because especially when all the tiles are there and it's like the 3rd or 4th season, and you can get a lot of tiles in one go. It's really just looking at like what is my best option here, you know? And yeah, I think that kind of finishes my review actually already, because one more thing, really nice in pictures. You can take beautiful pictures with this as well for whoever is interested in that. But yeah, I'm going to stop my review here. Really happy that I backed this on Kickstarter. The Grand Gamers Guild and Richard Janner delivered a very nice, good game. Not too heavy, and definitely not too light. And yeah, with all the games that you see behind me, even though I'm in the middle of a move, some are already like gone, there's gaps. I don't have a lot of 30-minute games, but this one fills that niche perfectly, and also abstract, even better. All right. So that's it. If you want to know how this game plays, please check out the gameplay video that is floating somewhere on my channel, and with that I mean the playthrough. It's done with Miss Gorov and the Flying Banana, Anna. So please just check that out. It'll make more sense. Yeah, that's it. I'm also going to dive in deeper on the solo. I don't know how quickly, but I'm sure you'll notice when you watch this video whether it's available yet or not. So that's it. My name is still Joachim, and this was So Many Games, So Little Time. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. Okay? Bye-bye. Oh yeah, like, subscribe, follow, check out Instagram, check out Twitch, whatever you want. You're welcome to stay. Okay? Alright. Bye-bye. Why am I speaking like a robot? I don't know. See ya.